Don't stop.
Hi, thanks so much for joining me on the Everything and Anything in a Big Gay podcast. I have an amazing guest today. I discovered him on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen. He was the guest behind the bar, and I'll tell you more about him in a moment. But first, I wanted to talk a little bit about Pride Month, because we are in Pride Month now. And I, in the past, have I love Pride Month in a lot of ways because I think it's fun to celebrate. But usually by like the second or third week, I'm just like, I'm over the rainbows. I'm over people. I get gayed out a little bit. You know, I'm like, oh my God, I have gayitis. Like I can't see any more gay stuff, and because it dominate the news, and it was doing all, it was just too much LGBTQ plus, I thought at one point. And I regret having those feelings now. But before I get into that, I wanted to also say that I feel this way about Christmas as well, and Halloween and Thanksgiving. And I think about this about winter. I get sick of something and I need change. I guess I need like kind of constant change. I'm never happy with something being just normal and stagnant. And that makes a lot of sense now that I'm saying this out loud, because that's why I have moved 17 or 18 times in the last 27 years. Because we have been in this house for about 2.5 years. And I have to say, I'm not moving, but I am really like, God, I think about it every day. Like, God, I wish we could just move. And there's no need to move. I just feel like I want to move for some reason. I have this itching that I want to get out of here and go somewhere else. But who really wants to fucking pack up a 4-bedroom house and move to another location? Not me, but for some reason I feel like I need change. And it's really crazy to me that I have to feel that way. But going back to my original thought is Pride Month, I get sick of, and I'm just like, God, get rid of this rainbow flags. I'm so sick of hearing about this person's story and this, whatever. But I have to say, I'm doing my LGBTQ plus news, Listen Up Girl. And yesterday I had an episode where I talked about how corporations really have abandoned DEI, and not just LGBTQ plus, but kind of overall. You know, I've worked at companies where there have been LGBTQ plus groups, veterans groups, African American groups, Latin, Asia Pacific Islander groups, all these different ERGs, which is employee resource groups that companies have had, and you don't hear about those anymore. You're not seeing companies come out with rainbow flags during June month on their logo and stuff. And so I regret in the past thinking, oh, I've had too much Pride. I'm sick of it. Especially when I lived in New York City, Pride is always at the end of June. So by the time you go to June, you're with hundreds of thousands of gay people on the streets of Manhattan watching a parade. You're just like, okay, I don't need any more gay people in my life for a little while, or LGBTQ plus people. Like I've had enough. And that's just who I am, because I get tired of socializing. I get tired of the same groups of people. I had a friend here a couple of weeks ago, and we went out to dinner one night. Then the next day we did a walk around Boston, and then we had dinner the next night on Saturday night. And Saturday night we walked into this restaurant, and it was so loud. And then this makes me sound like an old man, but the restaurant was super loud. Like we would have been yelling at each other. And we said, can we sit outside? Because there was one table outside. We got to sit outside. I'm like, thank God. And the table behind us was a table of like 15 or 16 people, because it was somebody's birthday. And they were so loud, and we were outside. And I just get tired of the noise. I get tired of being social. I have taken some Thursdays off of my Thursday nights out with my friends, because I just get tired of talking and hearing people talk, and I just need time to myself. And that's important. But my point is that I want Pride Month back the way it was. I hope that corporations stop being forced by the Orange Convicted Felons Administration to stop pushing away DEI. We need DEI. We need diversity, equity, inclusion in this world. Because if not, it's going to be a bunch of white straight men that are running this world, and that it's not at all what we want. At all. I was walking in the North End in Little Italy in Boston a couple of weeks ago when my friend was here, and there was a guy standing in front of his Harley Davidson motorcycle had his music on his motorcycle, playing some old songs and stuff. He's probably in his early 60s, and his shirt said, "I am a white, straight Republican man." Good. Great. Happy for you. Didn't understand that at all. My friend's daughter, who is a Republican, and I respect her for whatever she wants to, anything that she wants to believe in, it's her business as long as it doesn't hurt anybody. But she turned to the guy and says, "I love your shirt." I'm thinking, as a woman, you love a white, straight man Republican. That's what it sure said, a white, straight Republican man. You love that? Like, you realize he thinks you should be in the kitchen cooking dinner and at home cleaning house and taking care of the kids. That's what he thinks. And the way he looked at her, I just like, anyway, I'm going off on a direction I don't need to go any further. You get my point. I just wish pride was back. I wish we were not being threatened as a community. And if you have a pride event in your town or somewhere that you're going, go this June. Go to Pride, support it. Go out and cheer for the people walking in the parades. It's more important than ever to go and support Pride. We need to keep Pride going. So now let's get into my guest today. His name is Grant. He has an amazing book. I found Grant, and I think I have his book right here because I just finished it. His book is called, if you're watching this on video, it's called So Old, So Young. And I bought it, read it. It's a great read. I discovered Grant. I was watching Watch What Happens Live on Bravo one night, and Grant popped up talking about his book. I thought I'm like, God, he's a cute guy. I would love to have him on my podcast to talk about his book. And I asked my friend that lives in New York City, there's this guy. Maybe I'll find out if he's single. And he goes, who is it? And I send him his name and stuff. He goes, nope, know him. He's not single. And then whenever I interviewed Grant, he is very happily married. And he's so happily married, he just had a baby. They just brought home a baby girl. So I was so happy to be part of that experience with him, where he just brought the baby home a few days before the interview. He was adjusting to his new life, and it was really nice. And I wish him and his baby and husband like all the luck in the world, and they're going to be fabulous parents. I just know it. So enjoy my interview with Grant. Buy his book. Book is called So Old, So Young. I will put a link to his book in the description of this podcast or video, and get it because I read it and it was fabulous. So enjoy my interview with Grant, and I'll be back tomorrow with a brand new show. So tune in tomorrow. Thanks so much for listening. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me on the Everything and Anything in a Bit Gay podcast. Today, I have a brand new guest who you may know already because I've asked some of my friends I've told some of my friends I'm interviewing this guy named Grant, who's an author, and New York City is a small town because they all knew who he was. So welcome to the show, Grant.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
So we were just talking, Grant and I, before we started recording, that he has a new addition to the family. And it's not just a dog or a cat or a horse.
A horse would be a lot. It is a real person. On Thursday, it's Wednesday today, and on Thursday of last week, early Thursday morning, my husband and I welcomed our first child, a baby girl named Celia.
That is amazing.
Thank you.
And how are you sleeping? That's the question I always ask a new parent.
I am knocking on every wooden surface I can come across. She's a pro so far. I mean, she is eating like a champ and sleeping really well. And so the first few days I was not sleeping a lot, but mostly because I would just like get up in the middle of the night, to make sure that she was like still alive. And then two, I would just like stare at her for like an hour on end, and just be like so amazed by her. And so that led to some sleepless nights. But then I was finding like I actually have to sleep to be a good parent, which I think is something that people don't talk about in parenthood. Like you have to sleep. And so my husband and I have like kind of, we've created a system in which in her nursery, we've set up like an air mattress, and one person sleeps in there, and like each night, and then we switch off. And last night was my night in the nursery, but she like woke up once.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're lucky.
I know.
Because my friend had a baby, maybe it's been 4 months now, and she lives in Switzerland, and she will send me a text sometimes like at 11 o'clock at night, my time, which is 6 hours difference, her time. I'm like, oh, I guess the baby's up. She goes, yes, yet again, he is up. So.
No, I mean, like last night I had to like wake her up to eat. Like she would have, I think, just like slept through the night had I let her. And so, she's doing great so far, and I know that it can change on a dime, but at the moment she's doing great.
Can I ask, did you adopt her, or is it surrogacy, or how did you?
We did surrogacy, and our surrogate is like the most amazing woman that I've ever met.
Amazing.
She's like obviously given us this incredible gift, and has been now basically become like a member of our family. There's a picture of her right next to Celia's bassinet, and we plan to make her, kind of this hero and role model in Celia's life.
I love that. That is so. Congratulations! I'm so happy that you have a new baby. My one of my really good friends has 2 daughters through surrogacy also, and well, they're not babies anymore because they're 10 and 13 now.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
And so I should connect you to, because there's a lot of things that he didn't know about girls and women that he had to figure out along the way as they hit puberty and stuff.
Yeah.
So he's like, I don't know what to do with this. I'm like, well, she has an aunt. Maybe ask the aunt what you need to do. Because you can't ask me. I don't know what to do either. So.
Well, one of my very best friends is going to be her godmother. And actually, this friend of mine, her son is my godson. And so it's she'll have good, strong female role models here in New York.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I have to just tell you, I talked to a couple of friends about guests I have coming up on my podcast, and I didn't know really anything about like your personal life at all. And I knew about your book. I knew you were an author. I knew this is your 3rd book or 4th book.
This is actually my 6th book, believe it or not.
Your 6th book,
which makes me feel so old.
But I said, there's this guy, and I'm not hitting on you because I'm married as well, 27 years.
Congratulations! Wow.
I've said he's a really cute guy. I'll find out if he's single, and they're like, oh, what's his name? What's his name? I said, oh, Grant. And they're like, nope, he's married. I'm like, how do you know? Like it's a small little community, because I lived in New York for like on and off for 17 years, so I know how small it really is.
It is. It's like a village.
But they're like, no, he's married. He's taken. I'm like, okay. All right. Well, maybe they're not together anymore. And I'll ask on the podcast. They're like, well, if they're not, tell me right away, please.
Man. So we're very much together. And now we are very much together.
You're really together.
With the addition of Celia. That's right.
You're at least 18 years more together.
Correct.
If anything.
Correct.
Well, thank you so much for coming on my podcast. We're here to talk about this book, So Old, So Young. And so if you're not on video and you're on podcast, I just showed the book in the camera. So go to YouTube and see it if you want. And how I discovered you was that you were on Watch What Happens Live.
I was.
And how was that experience?
Oh my gosh, it was so fun. It was definitely like the most fun media experience I've done. It happened very quickly. My publicist reached out to me like a day before we shot it and asked if I was free to do it, which makes me think that like, thank God someone must have canceled and a space must have opened up. No, but I mean, it was an absolute blast. like sipping gin and tonics for the entire shoot and like kind of stumbled out of there, which was so fun. And like Erika Jayne was amazing. It was just like kind of in awe. And then like I was like, I feel like every gay man in New York like came up to me afterwards and was like touching me and being like, oh my God, you touched Erika Jayne. And then Elizabeth Perkins, who like is just,
she's iconic.
She's iconic. And like her character in Weeds, who's also actually named Celia, is just, she's so funny and so well rendered. And she was so sweet and so warm. And just, it was such an honor to meet her. And then Andy was great. The whole experience, it was, from beginning to end, it was super, super fun.
And did you know Andy before?
No, it was my first time meeting him. Coincidentally, my editor, though I don't think this is how it lined up, my editor edited his books and worked with him when he was at Holt, I believe.
Okay.
And so there was a bit of a connection there, but I'd never met him before.
Awesome. Well, I thought you did really well on there, and
thank you. Because let me tell you, Zach, I was not sober, and so when they like asked questions to me, I was like,
"Oh, you couldn't tell."
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, you were so professional. Like you did a really, really good job. So,
good.
Yeah, nobody knew that you were wasted or anything. Yeah. So, and I think on that show it's okay. It's acceptable. I think
it's like, I actually think it like beyond acceptable. I think it's like encouraged, right?
It's totally encouraged because they do drinking games and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I think you were in good company. So don't worry. I want to talk about the book because the book I started reading it. I have not finished it yet, but I have to say it's really kind of amazing. I feel like the characters, like you get to know the characters so well.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And so is this based on experience, these characters? Is it, I mean, I know it's not like it's not an autobiography, but talk to me about that.
So, it's based on experience in the sense that like I am someone who went to the University of Pennsylvania, which is where the characters in So Old, So Young graduate from. And I have like lived through the various stages of their lives. The book has 5 sections. It follows these 6 college friends over the course of 20 years, and it has these 5 sections. And the structural twist is that we only see the friends at 5 parties over the course of those 20 years. So we just kind of drop in on them as they make their way to adulthood or through adulthood, I think for better or worse. And it is based on experience so much as like I've been I'm 43 now. I've been a 23-year-old. I've been a 30-year-old. I've been a 35-year-old. And I have been bewildered by the passage of time and have had the feeling that so many of the characters in the book have of sort of waking up at 40 and being like, how the hell did this happen?
Yes.
And so in that sense, it's based on personal experience, but in terms of the characters themselves, no, I mean, my process at least is I kind of like start with a germ of a character, right? Like either one of my own insecurities that I want to explore or a voice that I hear, and I start there. And over the course of the process of writing the novel, these characters just sort of grow into their own people.
Yeah. Well, I would say I would have finished it, but I'll tell you what happened. It was on my nightstand, and I was reading it like before I'd go to sleep at night. And my husband goes, "What are you reading?" I go, "This book called So Old, So Young." So guess the next morning or the next night, I go to read it before I go to bed, and it's on my nightstand. And I'm like, did the cleaning lady come today and move it? Like, why would she move it off my nightstand? Like, that's weird. And like, maybe it fell behind the nightstand. And then I'm like, have you seen my book? He goes, oh yeah, it's upstairs. I'm reading it now. I'm like, oh, well, I wasn't quite done. He goes, well, you can have it after I'm done because I'm really into it. So that's why I didn't get to finish it, because he stole it, got into it, and wouldn't give it back.
Well, Zach, you just got to buy a second copy.
I guess I have to. Yeah. Well, Well, see, I have his father also likes to steal my books.
Okay.
So I need to probably just go ahead and send him one, because when he comes here to visit us, he's gonna want to steal it too. So
you got a lot of book thieves.
I do. And we'll be right back. Okay, and now back to the show. Kind of talk to me about how you became an author. Like, you grew up in Laguna Beach, is
I
that correct?
did. I did. I grew up in Laguna Beach. And then, as I said, I went to the University of Pennsylvania for undergrad. And then, I wasn't like an English major or anything. I studied politics and French, weirdly. And then after undergrad, I moved to Washington, D.C., where I was a speechwriter. And I had always been a huge, huge, huge reader. And in college, I worked on the college newspaper. And so I was always writing in some way. And I had always really liked writing. And I always had kind of like dreams of being an author. And then when I was a speechwriter, which was a job that I really loved.
Yeah.
Speechwriting is storytelling, I think. It's using narrative as a rhetorical tool. And so when I was doing that, I went through kind of my first breakup and had my heart broken for the first time by my first boyfriend. And in the period afterwards, I ended up writing a novel. I was like not wanting to go out, not wanting to be social. I thought, oh my God, the world is ending. I'm never going to find love again.
Yeah.
And, it's funny. I actually recently had drinks with that boyfriend. He lives in LA now. And we're still very close. He's a wonderful, wonderful person. And I was like, oh, wow, it's so good that this didn't work out. And like, we are just like wonderful friends. And he is married now to the person that he should be married to. I'm married to the person that I should be married to. But at the time, I didn't have the context for that. And so
how old were you then?
I was like 23. And so I wrote a novel. I literally Googled how many words are in a novel. And I was like, oh, it should be about 80,000 words. So I'm going to write a novel. And then when I was done with it, I Googled what to do when you've written a novel, literally. And I was like, oh, I have to find a literary agent. And so then I started Googling literary agent. My process was basically just an advertisement for Google. And I ended up, you can look at it as like either a blessing or a curse, getting an agent and selling that novel to Simon & Schuster. And I'm still with the agent, who is like probably, next to my parents, my husband, my daughter now, the most important relationship in my life. He's wonderful. But the novel itself, like, no one should write a novel when they're 23 years old unless you're Zadie Smith. And I am on a lifelong quest to like find every copy of that novel and burn it. But when I was done with it, I was like, I really like this. And I really like working in fiction. And so after that, I went to graduate school at NYU to get my MFA, and I just kept writing. And 5 books later, here we are.
So whenever you talk about kind of like, you wake up, you're like, oh my God, I'm 40. It's so interesting because everybody feels that way at times. Everybody has those experiences. Did you kind of have to like talk with your friends about this as well to make sure that they were having these same type of feelings? Or, because it is funny how when you get a certain age, you look back, you're like whenever I was in my 20s, I was living in South Beach in college. I was a little twink, blonde hair. And then one day, I don't know, I moved to New York right after college. And then I remember like I was like maybe I was turning 30. And I realized when we were at a bar somewhere in New York, I'm like, oh, I'm not that twink anymore. And it kind of like hit me like, I'm not that cute little twink that can get away with doing stupid shit anymore. And like those are like kind of, it's not a huge moment, but, and then you also like, whenever you turn 40, I don't know, like there was something that shifted also when I turned 40, where you're like, oh wow, like am I an adult now? Like I don't feel like an adult, but am I? And then I'm thinking like, what were my parents like when they were 40? And I guess, I don't know how old I would have been when my mom and dad were 40. I was probably very young. And so it's kind of funny how you like compare yourself to your parents, and like the age I am now compared to how my parents were at this age, we are completely different. Like my parents were doing nothing that I'm doing at this age. So,
well, I think that's also, so a number of things that I want to respond to in that. One, I actually like didn't ask my friends how they were feeling about turning 40. Well, I did, but not for like research for this book, more because I was just interested in their lives. But I was so interested. Like writing a novel is both this like delusional act of empathy because you are throwing yourself into perspectives that are not your own, right? Be it like a perspective that is like a different ethnicity, a different gender orientation, a different sexuality, whatever. You are having to imagine the world from someone else's lived experience. At the same time, it's incredibly like narcissistic and solipsistic because you are just thinking about your own thoughts all the time.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to like, how do I feel about getting older? I mean, that was really the genesis for the book. It was more of an interrogation of like, how am I experiencing the passage of time and age and everything else that that made it into the book. And the I don't know, the comforting part about that was that after people read it, they came up to me and they're like, oh my God, I feel the same way, which was great because then I could be like, oh, I'm not psychotic and weird and idiosyncratic, but in fact, like other people are feeling this way too. And then the other thing you said about your parents and what their lives look like at 40, you know, I think that that's really interesting because it hits on something that I think is plaguing is maybe too strong a word, but like affecting millennials, which, and the characters in this book are like squarely millennials, where because of kind of like economic calamities and political calamities and social changes, we don't have the same kind of traditional adult markers that our parents did, right? So many of us like don't own homes because we've been priced out of the housing market and our parents' generations are gobbling up real estate and refuse to let go of it, right?
Yeah.
We're having children much later because children are expensive and we have to accumulate at least a modicum of wealth to do that. Whereas our parents, you know, were just like at the age of 28 could have it and the economy was in their favor and they had the economic tailwinds for them for years and years and years. So I do think getting older, on the one hand, is like very specific for our generation, but also is like universal in that like, I bet if you asked your parents, they would say that they had moments where they were like, oh my God, we can't believe we're 40 either, right? I remember my grandmother, before she died, you know, she was 90 years old, would say to me like, I still feel like a 22-year-old.
Yeah.
And so I think that that is universal.
Yeah. And I also just think that the way that, I mean, there are some universal things, but, you know, obviously, I mean, I didn't have kids, so my parents had kids. My parents owned a house. I'm renting still. So yeah, I do agree with all that. But I just think the way that, you know, maybe it's because I'm gay and they weren't, but the way that I dress and my social life is so much different than anything that they ever had at this age. So it's just like we're just completely different. And the way that they looked so much older than I do. And I guess because like I'm gay and I have skincare and I do Botox, so maybe that's why. But I don't know. Like it's just like, and my mom, I mean, I grew up in Miami, so my mom was like sitting in our pool, like probably with like baby oil on when I was growing up.
Totally.
You know, there was no sunscreen back then. So I guess it all, if I drill down to it, I can probably,
you can figure it out.
It all makes sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And talk to me about, I want to also get your other book that came up before this, The People We Hate at Weddings, because it sounds amazing. Like, because everybody, I feel like this is a conversation I would have with my friends. And so basically that book was about friends coming home on a train drinking wine or something. Oh my gosh. And then
so the book itself is about a family, kind of particularly these siblings that are going to their half sister's wedding, and the two siblings themselves are their lives like are messy and they haven't really landed and they're both kind of failures to launch, and their half sister had access growing up to a trust fund that they never had. And they're from their father. They have the same mother. The half sister has a different father, and so it's a lot about wealth and class and envy and kind of sibling rivalries, and so that is the plot of the book. The idea for the book came about because my husband and I went to a wedding. I mean, this was so long ago. This was like in 2014. We went to a wedding out on Long Island in Amagansett, and after the wedding, the next day on the way home, we were with two friends on the Long Island Railroad, and we had taken from the wedding. The wedding was like this big house that the couple had rented, and there was like some wine left over that we helped ourselves to on the way to the train station. And so we had like 4 bottles of wine with us. And if you know anything about the layout of the Long Island Railroad, we finished the wine, all 4 bottles, between Amagansett and Southampton. And so we were like feeling really good.
Yeah.
And so one of my friends at that point, kind of, you know, with slurred speech, asked who we hated at the wedding. And in one of the few good decisions I've made as a writer, I said to myself in that moment, you know, that's a great title for a book. So I wrote it in the notes section of my phone. And the next morning when I woke up with a terrible headache and like cotton mouth, I like looked at the notes section of my phone and was like, that's still a good title for a book. And so then I kind of reversed engineered it and was like, all right, so we have a wedding and we have to have some pretty insufferable people. And I was very interested in writing about class and how money poisons relationships even within a family. And so I kind of used the vehicle of a wedding to do that.
I love it. It's great. It's a great story. And I mean, the whole thing, that would be my next book that I'll
thank you.
buy.
Thank you. You can go watch the movie afterwards. It was turned into a movie that came out in 2024 with a fantastic cast with Allison Janney, Kristen Bell, and Ben Platt starred.
Okay, I thought it sounded familiar. I thought it was just the title sounded familiar, but yes.
Yeah.
Okay, it all makes sense now. And we'll be right back. Okay, now back to the show. I have to ask, how did your husband's name is Matt?
Yes, that's right.
How did you guys meet?
A friend of ours, our friend Ben, introduced us. We were introduced in 2012.
Wow. Yeah. And did you know right away?
It's funny. He will dispute this story. So we had a great first date, and afterwards, I like walked into the subway. I was living in the West Village at the time. He was living in Fort Greene, where we live now. And I walked into the subway, and I thought like, oh, this was fantastic. Like we'll kiss. It was a great date. And he shook my hand. Oh. And I was like, oh, okay. I guess it wasn't that great. You know, it was like kind of a bummer. And then I went home and I was like, whatever, for, you know, first date, I guess I misread it. But then the next day he messaged me and was like, I would love to see you again. Are you free tonight? And so I was like, okay. And then we were together for 5 years before we got married, and we've been married for it'll be 9 years in September.
Wow. Congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you.
I love, there's just so many, there's so many people so many of my friends are single and like want what you have. So you should just be so, I feel incredibly, incredibly lucky. Yeah.
I feel really, really lucky. Really lucky.
I know. I feel lucky too. I'm so thankful that I would not want to be single today. Like, I just feel like
there's like so much competition. Like there's
so much,
like between like, I don't know, Instagram and all the apps and everything. It just feels like I don't know. It's the same. I think about it now. Like I could not be like a high school student or a college student now. I would like die. I teach at NYU and I teach undergrads at NYU, and I'm like kind of in awe of them. I'm like, I don't know how all of you have like maintained what sanity you have maintained. I'm not saying it's full sanity, but like what sanity you have maintained, because growing up in this just like world of constant performance must just be so like existentially exhausting.
Yeah, and plus I'm glad there was no social media whenever I was in high school and college, because I don't know if I'd want to be out there with the shit that I was doing.
Oh,
so, you know.
No way. Are you kidding me? It was funny. I think 2 days away from like deleting Instagram entirely from my phone. And I'm just like at the point now where like whenever I open, I just like feel gross and bad. But I do follow Courtney Love on Instagram, and she posted something the other
Yeah.
day that was just like a video montage of all this stuff from the 90s. And the caption
Yeah.
was something like, God, we were so lucky. And I'm like, God, we were so lucky.
We were.
Like, so lucky. To like grow up at a time when there wasn't all of these distractions. And like I said, just like this constant like pressure to perform. We're really lucky.
Yeah, and the constant news cycle that you get
Oh my
alerts
God,
for,
it's
and just like
it's so
everything.
exhausting.
It's just like it's so
Yeah.
much. Yeah, I mean, we, me and my husband go to this like all inclusive spa sometimes. Maybe try to go every few years, and we try to put our phone away.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I can't even get through a day though. It's so sad.
Oh, really?
Like,
I remember I went on this is like, so the same summer when I started teaching people writing people hate at the wedding, I went on this 2 week, maybe it was like 2.5 weeks, like camping and backpacking trip this is going to sound strange, in like Swedish Lapland, which is above the Arctic Circle. And I was in Sweden and Norway, and I was there during the summer, which was like incredible. And it was through a program called Knowles, which I'm like a huge evangelist for. And I was with maybe, I don't know, like 10 other people, 12 other people. And then there were like 2 or 3 guides. And it was just sort of like outdoor education, awareness, first aid, that kind of stuff. And the first thing we did when we got there was like, the base camp took our phones. And so we were like without phones for like 2.5 weeks. And it was heaven. Like absolute heaven.
I feel like it should be almost mandatory that everybody does that for 2 weeks a year. Like you have to do it. So there was a company that I worked for years ago, and they made you take off 2 weeks in a row at least once a year.
Oh wow.
Like you had to do it like 2 weeks in a row, and you were not allowed to check email. It was more for a compliance issue to make sure you weren't like, because if you were gone for 2 weeks from a job, their thoughts were, if you're doing anything shady, then it's going to show up.
Sure.
And so like you're cut off for 2 weeks, but it really made you like shut down and really not like think about work, because you weren't allowed to like look at anything for work. So
that's awesome.
I think that should just be like
mandatory.
Part of our culture now. But
I agree.
mandatory.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I know about these names. I know you didn't tell me your husband's name, Mac, but I also know you have a dog named Frankie. You can find anything on the internet.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yes, I do. I do have a dog named Frankie.
And my question is like, how is the dog adjusting to the new baby?
It's a fantastic question. The dog. So we had like concerns, not because Frankie's a bad dog. Frankie just has a lot of personality. And so there was like some concerns that he'd be like, what the hell is going on? But I am so pleased to say that he is doing great. He is super curious.
Awesome.
He's super gentle. He keeps like giving her feet little kisses. He'll just
that's so
sit
nice.
at the base of her bassinet and just kind of like stare up at her. This morning, I like was like making coffee, and I went into the nursery and like found him there staring with his tail wagging, just sitting there with his tail wagging, looking at her.
It's like his big sister.
And so or little sister, right?
I'm sorry, little sister. Little sister.
And so he's doing really, really great, which is sweet.
That's amazing. So what's next now that you've got a baby, now that you've got a dog that loves your baby? And so what do you have planned next? New book in the works?
I do have a new book in the works. It's like very, very early stages, but I'm really excited about it. And I'm kind of like, I'm feeling my way into it right now. So there's that. And then I'm really lucky in that Celia's arrival was super convenient for me because my last class at NYU this semester was on Monday, and I have a stack of essays to grade. Oh. But then once I'm done grading those essays, I have the summer off, obviously, and then NYU.
That's amazing timing.
And then NYU also gives us, for paternity leave, a full semester off, and so I'll have 9 months off just to like hang out and write and play with Celia and Frankie. And my husband and I, we've rented actually a place up in P-Town for the entire month of September. And so we'll be up there starting the week before Labor Day if people are around.
I will be there actually that week.
Incredible. I'm doing some events at East End Books, both for So Old, So Young, and then also my friend John Glynn, who's an editor and also just an incredible writer, has a new book coming out called The Lost Book of Lancelot. That is a queer retelling of kind of Arthurian legend. And so I'll be doing an event with him for his book. And so I'll be around with Celia and Frankie.
I will be there. Yeah, my friend's renting a place the last part of August through Labor Day week. And so he has somebody coming like that Labor Day week, and I'm coming the week before. Okay, cool. So cool. I will be there.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I would definitely stop by your event and say hello.
Please do.
I would love to meet you in person.
For sure. It'd be great.
And P-Town, like in September, the month of September is
the best.
The best because it's not overcrowded, but it's still, everything is still open. And so it's perfect.
I know. We love it up there. We're so excited.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on the baby. Congratulations on the book, So Old, So Young. I will put a link in the description of this video or podcast, however you're listening or watching this, and go and buy the book because the book is really good. Just don't leave it in your nightstand if you live with somebody because they will probably steal it from you and you may need to just go ahead and order 2 copies. And so if that happens. So. Thanks so much for being on, Grant. I appreciate you.
Thanks so much for having me, Zach.